Brutal death of a 16-year-old girl. The sophomore dying today after a fight with other girls. School and city.
That it takes capturing a death on video to wake the.
Give me the story about when you said when you came to Memphis and you were driving around and you didn't see no kids nowhere. Tell me about that story.
When I first came to Memphis, I was driving around, and where I'm from, there's always kids outside playing. And there were no kids driving around Memphis, and I could not figure out where the kids were. And every time I asked someone, there was never a good answer. So this obviously disturbed me, because that was all that kids in my neighborhood ever did, was play outside, and there weren't any kids in the streets in Memphis.
Historically, Chicago sees this spike in shootings and murders in the summertime, but where do you really peg the root of this violence? Such a big spark of violence over the holiday weekend.
Right. Well, it's so interesting because this has been going on at least since I was young. I remember I wrote an article for the Chicago Tribune on a 7-year-old kid by the name of Dantrell Davis, who had been killed at the time at Cabrini Green's housing projects as he was walking to school with his mother. You know, obviously summertime, you have kids out. A lot of times you have community programs that have been cut, so a lot of these kids don't have anything to do or anywhere to go, and it also plays into the lack of guidance that these kids are not necessarily getting at home. So when you
What's your involvement in Revolt?
I am an artist and a minister as a part of Revolt, hip-hop artist.
So when you saw the impact of Revolt, what did you think?
I thought it was incredible. I felt like I wish that I knew about something like this when I was a teenager. It was so exciting to be able to make God and Jesus cool in a way that we're not exposed to. And I felt like this is the best thing that we could possibly be doing to try to reach the youth.
Y'all know what P31 stands for those of you who don't. It's Proverbs 31. And I just want you ladies to know that God has made you beautifully. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. Don't ever let anybody tell you different. You don't ever have to change yourself. You don't have to change your body. You don't have to sell yourself out. You be who God has called you to be. So we're just going to represent. I want you guys to repeat after me, okay? Now, I'm going to say go live on my ladies, go live. And I want you to say go live. Go live. Okay? Now go live on my ladies, go live. Go live on my ladies, go live. Go live on my ladies, go live. Dancing on the outside, beautiful on the inside.
So you work with kids, weren't you? Yeah. So in your opinion, what is the state of young people?
In a word, lost. Lost, but seeking. You know, like they're trying to find themselves and looking for answers for what's driving them to think and do certain things, for understanding just who they really are. And unfortunately, the only answers that they're getting are the images and the agenda pushed in media, movies, music, all of that. And so I think what we see now with the youth is them living out these lies that have been told to them. You know, who am I as a man? What does it mean to be a black man? What does it mean to be a woman? What does it mean to be a black woman? And the images that they see are all lies and falsehood.
When you first saw Revolt, what was your thoughts of the impact that you saw with the young people? Explain what you saw too.
Yeah, my first time seeing Revolt, it was awesome to see the kids, how they come in, and they're so skeptical.
What I saw was a transformation, like an instant transformation. You know, you have people who showed up because it was free. You know, you have people who showed up with churches, you know, but I think one thing that was consistent throughout the entire crowd of young people, not so much the adults, but definitely the young people, was just apprehension. You know, they were a little standoffish, you know, a little shy, just trying to take in everything that they were seeing.
That we're that nice. They're so skeptical that we genuinely want to give. That it's a free concert, you know, what are we selling, or, you know, what is it that we want? And they're truly skeptical, to show them that no, we really mean this stuff we're talking about. You know, this Jesus stuff, this God stuff that we're talking about. You can see we're genuine, and I think they're starved for that genuine side of a human being, for us to get up there and say, no, we're not perfect, but we know better, and we're doing it a better way, and there is a better way. There's a different way to do things.
Even take in the concept of, this is a free concert, we got food for you in the back, you know, we got a gift for you, you know, like all of that. And to see song after song, ministry after ministry, you know, performance after performance, to see them loosen up, and to you 4 or 5 songs into it, and a young man who came in, who was dragged here by his parents, or who was dragged here by the church or whatever, who was all the way on the back wall, has now made his way up to the front. Is now dancing and jumping, and so much so to the point that when the net is dropped, when it does go from the party to, okay, now let's take care of kingdom business. Let me tell you about God. Let me tell you about Jesus. You know, let me open up the doors and get you saved, to where you have these children who have felt something real in that moment, have felt some truth in a world of lies, and they're drawn to it, and it speaks to them. And now you have teenage boys crying at the altar, like real deal crying, weeping, broken down on the floor, like shaking, giving their lives to God because of a real experience that they felt.
Why should someone watching this, why should they sow that part of
You should sow, because this is, I mean, even if I wasn't a part of this and I saw it, I would say that this is the most wise and intelligent thing that anybody could possibly do in this season or in this generation, or to try to reach the youth. Because people have to understand that no matter what religion you come from, no matter what church you go to, if you go to church or you don't go to church, music has such an influence on people. Hip hop has an influence on people. It's not just a small community. It's not just black people, white people, Chinese people. Everyone loves hip hop. And because it's so universal, the fact that we can take something like this to input positive influence and motivation into kids, like, you have to see that this is the future, that things have changed, things have evolved, and there's nothing that's going to give you a better return than what we're doing.
You know, you've got to really care about God's business to want to support this. You've got to understand the value of the youth. You've got to understand what the youth represents in the next 20 years. You've got to understand what the youth represents in our markets, in our economies, in our companies. You have to understand that. You can't be a nearsighted person. You have to have a real understanding economically of what happens to this country with the condition of our youth, what happens to our businesses with the condition of our youth and our resources, and how that is right now projected to play out over the next 5, 10, 15, 30 years. And that is frightening. But why should they care about Revolt? Because when you care about God's business, He cares about yours. And God's business is these kids. Because I'm not sure what will happen to us if we don't save these kids, if we don't show them the way, if adults and parents and fathers don't turn their hearts back to these children and be fathers and be pastors and be givers and be godly, if we don't show them the way, I'm not sure what's going to happen to this country.
Please support us with the best gift that you can so we can save and touch 1,000 young people. As you know, we did this last year in the state of Tennessee with a goal to touch 100 young people and ended up saving over 267 young people. So I'm real excited about that number, what God did, and I'm pretty sure God will do more. So that's why we're faithing for 1,000 young people, and we're faithing for you to sow $10,000 into this ministry to make it happen. Revolt now.